Let's talk about Jurassic Park 3. Specifically, let's talk about an issue I've had a lot of comments about on my channel lately. The infamous T-Rex vs. Spinosaurus fight. I did a video a couple of months ago on the possibility of a rematch in a future Jurassic Park film, and the reception for that was high enough for me to put together a sequel of sorts to it. First off, I'd like to tell you a story straight from the theater. As it's probably obvious now to anyone that watches me regularly, I'm a huge Jurassic Park nut. The first two films were beyond a shadow of a doubt the single biggest thing in my childhood. I love these movies, and to this day, both films are in my personal top 10. Now let's talk about the fateful day I sat down with my family after church to watch the newest entry in the series, Jurassic Park 3. I was super hyped for the movie. I couldn't wait to see what wonders, scares, and adventure awaited me in the dimly lit room. Long story short, it did not live up to my expectations, and to be completely honest, when I look at the film through a critical eye, I can honestly say it's one of the worst sequels I think I've ever seen. A big part of the marketing around this film was a giant-sized fight between the big badass T-Rex that everyone loved and the new deadly Spinosaurus that came out of nowhere and destroyed the Rex within literally seconds. Now let's actually pause for a bit and look at dinosaur culture and phenomenon around the time of this film's release. Jurassic Park was still pretty fucking big. It wasn't like it was in the 90s, but people paid attention when they heard someone talk about the popular franchise. Jurassic Park love quickly turned several movie producers, cartoon artists, and video game creators into millionaires overnight. There were countless Jurassic Park rip-offs and low-budget follow-ups, none of which made enough buzz to be recognized as well as Jurassic Park itself. The big one that sticks out to me, though, is Dino Crisis, the video game. This survival horror game was actually just a Resident Evil clone with a Jurassic Park paint job, and being released in 1999, it naturally worked. Dino Crisis was a legitimate hit. Dino Crisis 2 came out quickly the following year. In that game exists a scene where the big bad T-Rex actually gets its ass wrecked by a new, bigger, badder dino, the Giganotosaurus. I bring this up because it is strikingly similar to how the dino battle played out the following year on the big screen in Jurassic Park 3. Now, around the time of all this stuff coming out, scientists were really reveling in their discoveries of bigger carnivorous dinosaurs, and everyone wants to be bigger and better than everyone else, so naturally, a bone war of sorts began between paleontologists on which species they believed were the meanest and most deadly. The main guy I want to throw into the conversation now is Jack Horner, who as a kid in the 90s I ironically idolized. To put it bluntly, Horner hated the T-Rex. He has put out so many theories, assessments, statements on how weak and timid the creature is that I really can't make this video without bringing the topic up here for discussion. Why is this man's opinion important when the entire scientific community disagrees with him? Well, because he's in charge of making the dinosaurs in the Jurassic Park franchise as realistic as possible. Horner thinks the Rex wasn't even a hunter, asserting that the animal was too big and too slow to hunt and probably scavenged everything it ate. This theory was later proved extremely wrong when various dinosaur skeletons were uncovered of animals with broken or crushed bones that had healed over, with evidence leading directly, and rather blatantly at that, of the only culprit being the crushing teeth and jaws of the tyrant lizard king. But during the production of Jurassic Park 3, director Johnston and Horner desperately wanted a different star attraction for the new film. Originally, the animal was going to be the Baryonyx, but later was made into a Spino. Ironically, the character Billy Brennan suggests the Rex's killer was a Baryonyx after Grant tells him the creature was bigger than a Suchomimus. Billy, being a paleontologist, should really know that the Baryonyx was around half the size of the Suchomimus, and both creatures lacked a fucking sail, but hey, that's a topic for another time. So the powers that be want a bigger, meaner son of a bitch to show the T-Rex who's boss, and that's exactly what they did. Unfortunately, this really backfired on them when the fight became the most controversial moment in Jurassic Park history. Its infamy spawned the public's acknowledgement of the Spinosaurus species, which whenever featured in any sort of media since the movie is almost always featured alongside or fighting a T-Rex, usually with a Spino winning. Now, there's a lot of controversy over this topic, most of which is directed at a civil war between dinosaur fans over which animal could kill the other. I've already answered this in my previous video, but if you want scientific facts, the T-Rex would destroy the Spinosaurus, especially with the new evidence from 2014 documenting its real physiological behavior and quadrupedal movement. But within the Jurassic Park fandom, a lot of people still hate the Spinosaurus for being a big slap in the face to the king of the dinosaurs. I think most of the anger gets directed at how badly it tarnished the Jurassic Park series as a scientifically sound and fairly accurate representation of these animals, because up until Part 3, The film series was pretty much applauded in the scientific community. It helped teach millions about our current understanding of these animals, and those that relied solely on the Jurassic Park series for dinosaur information unfortunately went on believing the Rex to be inferior to the new Spino. Which, really, you can't blame them, because the movie wants to make that really obvious whenever it gets the chance. Sure, a lot of people love to throw in the usual, oh well, these two animals lived at completely different times and on different continents, so we'll never know who would win because it never happened. And to that I have to say, well, we have a pretty good fucking idea with the knowledge we have of a Spinosaurus being a piscivore, and that T-Rex had the single strongest bite force of anything that ever lived on the planet. I mean, it's really not rocket science here. A semi-truck can run over a Silverado, Ivan Drago can kill Apollo Creed, and a T-Rex would murder a Spinosaurus. Now, about the rematch. Look, I know a lot of people want or don't want this particular fight to happen again in the series. But honestly, it's probably going to, whether you're excited about it or not. I say this knowing the current creators' decisions about the direction these new films should go in. Putting the T-Rex back to the forefront of the series on its rightful throne and establishing it as the current logo skull has made it abundantly clear to many that, yes, Jurassic Park 3 was a pretty big mistake. How do you fix a mistake? You make it right. How do we make this right? Well, eventually, you're going to have to build up the superiority of the Rex again. And the quickest, most deliberate, and effective way to do that is to have a Tyrannosaurus kill a Spino. I know this sounds kind of like bloodlust that some fans have over the death of another animal, but in all honesty, I understand completely where they're coming from. Jurassic Park 3 was a terrible movie. You can get enjoyment out of it, sure, and I wouldn't knock you for that, but it was a bad movie, and it put the series in a coma for 14 years, partly because of this decision they brought about in that film. I've already stated that the Rex breaking through the Spinoskeleton in Jurassic World was good enough for me, but other people obviously weren't satisfied. The petition online for the rematch gets signatures all the time and is the biggest source of information on the T-Rex side of the fence for this sort of topic. But what about the Spinosaurus side? While they are not as numerous as the Rex side, the Spino lovers are pretty adamant at preventing this rematch any chance they get. And you can guess why. Look, in all seriousness, the Spinosaurus is a big, beautiful creature, and one that should be revered and avoided by anyone or any animal within the Jurassic Park franchise. Unfortunately, the creators of the Jurassic Park version of the animal went out of their way to have it at eternal war with the Rex species, constantly saying the animal hunts the T-Rexes and is attracted to them throughout the film. And I hate to say it, but the filmmakers are completely to blame for the Spino getting its ass kicked in future Jurassic Park media. Whether anyone likes it or not, the dino's not walking out of its next encounter with the Rex. Maybe if the Spinosaurus writing wasn't so gung-ho about picking fights, this sort of thing wouldn't happen, but yeah, in the future, there kind of has to be an encounter between these two giants again. Some may say that it would be contradictory for the series to do a rematch with the Spino losing, because it's already gone out of its way to say that the Rex is weaker than the Spino, but that's like saying it would be impossible for Rocky Balboa to come back and beat Clubber Lang, and spoiler alert, he did. Furthermore, I think it's important to note that no one even knows where the Spinosaurus in Jurassic Park 3 comes from. There's even specific dialogue stating the creature wasn't on InGen's list of cloned animals, and it wasn't featured at all in The Lost World. And while it's true that these two films take place on different parts of the Isla Sorna island, it's also really lazy to set up an animal's introduction and never explain where it came from. So the Spinosaurus is probably going to have to come back into the series fold no matter what, just to tie up loose ends within the franchise. Yes, it's true, a lot of people hate the Spino, but a lot of people also need the big rematch to happen for personal satisfaction, as well as a series redemption for the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Again, their star animal. And with that, I want to conclude this video. Those are all of my personal thoughts on the situation and what I think about the controversy surrounding it. I don't care about a rematch. I saw the T-Rex break through the bones in Jurassic World. That was perfect. I loved that. It was a big middle finger to the Spinosaurus. I understand completely where both sides are coming from. If you were introduced to the Spinosaurus through Jurassic Park 3, you probably have a big attachment to it, and it's probably an animal that you really think is cool and interesting. But you've got to understand, the writers went out of their way to make this guy a big bad guy that attacks every other animal and hunts T-Rexes. if the people behind these movies want to put T-Rex in the forefront again, there kind of has to be an altercation, because currently right now it's just there. I don't think it's needed. I think it's basically going to be fan service and kind of like a "we're sorry we did this," which is what I thought Jurassic World did with the T-Rex breaking through the skeleton. Some people need a little more. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you're interested in seeing more, leave me a like or comment. Let me know what your opinions are on this rematch, or the original fight in general. Subscribing to me would make my day, and I would very much appreciate it. As always, guys, take it easy.